So I feel like there's still like this piece that around like how does an empath resource themselves to stay in community, to stay in the circle?
Yeah, yeah. So beautiful. Thank you. So, the key that I've seen is being able to get in touch with what I actually need. So, empaths have been sort of trained, or their survival to belong is to deny their needs, is to be, I've got to make sure everybody else in the space is okay in order for me to be okay. Because an empath feels so much energy, it's like I can't have any conflict in the space, I can't have any shadow distortion because it'll all feel overwhelming. So, in order to do that, I have to be hyper vigilant. This is in the original family. I have to be hyper vigilant to everybody in the family, be the peacemaker, make sure everybody's happy, everybody's got what they want. Then I won't be exiled. These are my conditions of love and of belonging. These is what I have to do. I have to completely deny myself. So then, of course, you go into a space and whoa, all this energy is kicking off. It wouldn't even occur to an empath to go, well, what do I actually need? Beyond, I've just got to get away. That's the only need that they can connect with to create safety. But of course, they go away and then they're on their own. And it's like, oh, thank God for that. I feel bliss now. I feel all relaxed. I can be myself. But they're not relational anymore. And we want to also, we long to be relational. So the way I work with empaths in that way is to help them to connect with what they actually need that would make it possible for them to stay relational in that moment. What would make it possible for you to stay in the room without feeling overwhelmed? And that takes really, really deep listening and a space. It's almost like the space just needs to expand out and open, and there needs to be a level of stillness, not deadness in the space, but a level of stillness and a level of deep listening so that the empath system can slow down enough and come out the freeze and all of those responses and find their body, find their sense of self, notice all the stuff that's happening, all the energies that are moving in the body, all the mind works that are going on. What is it that I actually need that will make it possible for me to stay in this space? And that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take some doing. When you've had 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of just denying needs.
That's really interesting. And that there's a question that comes to mind. I'm curious what you feel in terms of, are people born empaths or born sensitive, psychic, with that kind of deeper connection, able to talk to plant spirits, that kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing? Or does that happen as a result of the family system and being kind of in that role that you described? Or is it both? Is it that if you come into a family like with that, then you're likely to then have that trauma, um, if
Mm.
you're born into a family where everyone else isn't like that or isn't living like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And for me, I have to bring in deep time here. I have to bring in the ancestral wounding because, the wounds that we experience in this life, I don't believe are only there's the ones that we get from this life, from this first breath, from this parenting that we got. But also, I think we carry so much from the ancestral patterning. I mean, I know that for myself when I hit menopause. I was like, whoa, oh, here's the ancestral patterning moving through my system. Now I'm like, hang on a minute, that's not fair. I got to clear all your lot as well. It's that.
And people feel it in pregnancy as well. It's like,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think it's both and. I do feel that we are really unique and different, and each of us comes in already with a unique shape, if you like, soul shape, spirit shape, body shape, all, endocrine system shape. And that's shaped from ancestral patterning, but also just, who knows, the mystery download into our bodies. And then those shapes get illuminated or harmed as we experience whatever we experience in this life as we come in. So we might be born more empathic maybe than someone else, we could say, but that empath quality will then be used as a skill to survive trauma. It will be used as a tool, as a way to survive trauma, or make the trauma worse because I'm an empath and because I don't know how to put a shield up, because I haven't yet figured out how to sort of make choice and put a protective shield around myself, or let these energies move through my body so I don't have to absorb them all. I think putting a shield up is the first step for an empath, but I actually don't think that's the end game, because if you put a shield up, again, you're in isolation. I think ultimately the transformation of where empath doesn't, when an empath is struggling, is to learn how to let energies move through the body rather than be stored in the body. Generally, we tend to, it's like a sponge. We just soak it up and soak it up and soak it up and hold it, rather than, if I just let it flow through me and straight into the earth, then I don't have to carry any of that. It doesn't have to become part of my cellular memory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a beautiful practice that I do regularly, which it's actually creating the boundary, but from inside out. And it's not really a boundary, it's more of an empowerment. And so it allows me to still be in relationship. I'm not having to like protect myself from everything.
Yes.
I'm just allowing myself to be stronger and take up more space.
Yes.
And it's in relationship with the earth and, with the great above. And so it kind of allows that strength and then for things to move through me. Yeah. And I feel that that's a really powerful skill, because otherwise it can get a bit around like, I need protecting from everyone,
exactly.
from everything.
That's the shadow I've got to protect from. I really am so, absolutely. And taking up more space will be very, very terrifying to an empath, because basically that sounds like saying, well, I'm just going to absorb even more shit.
Yeah.
But like you say, pushing out and taking up space is different to pushing stuff away.
Absolutely. And there's also the collective field, which has so much trauma, witch hunts from the colonial kind of cuttings off from cultures that are connected to nature and more embodied in that way. Yes. And so that also comes into play when those things are quite a natural reflex for somebody. Yeah. There is that very genuine fear that I've felt myself, like in my journey, and I've witnessed in so many people that I've worked with, of that, but what will happen to me if I allow this part of myself to take up space in the world?
Yeah, I'll get killed, raped, tortured, exiled, marginalized.
And sometimes it all happens as
Absolutely. Well. It's not like it's a fantasy fear. It's real. It's that fear's based on historical experience. I just want to come back and just say one more thing about the empath thing. And you were saying, do we come in, like that? Fundamentally, I like to believe, and I have a sense of, jury's always out, that I think we're all fundamentally that connected. And it's just that we've become disconnected. I don't think we've got to try and learn to talk to trees or try and learn to read the space. It's just the human sort of protector style from the trauma that has meant that some of those qualities that we essentially are have had to be pushed out and pushed to the side, because we're busy trying to protect ourselves from feeling the shame of the trauma and the exile and all that horrific stuff. That, there's a cost, if you like. So that's why I come back to the soul wound work, that when we do that, so much else just sort of can start to change and shift around it.